Good afternoon, everybody. I wanted to talk to you today about situations where the narcissist is not happy with the new supply. So let's jump in. This is going to be a good one, I do believe. So the narcissist needs a certain kind of balance in their life, okay? So a lot of times why they would get bored of us is because we would give them too much comfort, and we would give in to being what they would call conquered in a relationship, meaning once you tell them that you love them back and you start giving them your all and you're not a challenge in this relationship, then they're ready to move on to the next thing. They also are adrenaline junkies. They can't really enjoy themselves if they don't have some adrenaline coming at them, because generally speaking, that's what they love. They also do love the love and the admiration, so they like that side of us, and they do like the idea of the comfort and the safety and security. That type of stuff is really good for them, but you notice when they leave you, where do they go? They typically have and I say this often, they have a narcissist boyfriend or girlfriend, whoever I'm speaking to right now on this platform, and they go to them next because they're ready for their fill of adrenaline. They're ready for their chase, their cat and mouse chase, and all of that destructive type stuff. So that's what we don't typically give them. Maybe in certain times when we get reactive with them, right? But as you wake up and you gray rock them, you make things boring for them. See, they can't get boring, they get disillusioned, and they get where if things get bland for a narcissist, they're gone. So if the new supply is what the platform would call more independent than you were, then they're going to reject a lot of these situations. Now, you're going to walk into a codependency. You may not really have much of a codependency, but as you break the spell, you do get your soul independence, which is a beautiful thing. But there is some codependency there. I'm just saying that you may not typically feel like you had codependence before, and you wouldn't even show it. It kind of would re-spark these underlying codependency issues that would come back. Those are situations where the new supply, if the new supply is more independent in themselves, then they're going to reject the narcissist much faster. They're not going to play into their mask. They're not going to play into the fantasy or the illusion, right? And so that's going to give the narcissist is going to get heavily narcissistic injuries from that, so they're not going to stick around long from the new supply if that's the case. A lot of times what happens is the narcissist has this idolized version of who the new supply is, and if the new supply does not mirror that back to them and they can't satisfy what they have decided they have idolized them as, then they're going to get disillusioned with that. They're going to get disillusioned. They always say they take a snapshot picture when they meet each individual supply, and it always goes back to that when they come to re-hoover you. But if they can't meet the needs based on what they originally thought they should be able to accomplish as far as an idolization phase, then they're going to be gone for that, because then you have to be perfect. And when they start seeing a bunch of that are imperfections in your life, then you can't hold up the illusion in their mind, so they have to go get somebody that can. And a lot of times we were really good at that. We were really good at whatever their idolization was. If the new supply does not also mirror back to the narcissist what they have idolized themselves to be, for instance, if they're just this wonderful, beautiful female that's got it all put together, they're high profile, they're very important, highly valued, highly needed, sought after, and if they're not pampered the right way, so that was something we used to do. We used to people please them a lot. So when the more independence that you find, then you're going to want that reciprocation, that reciprocity to be on an even keel level. So as you get healthy, these are boundaries that you build. And so we had poor boundaries, so that's what they liked about us. If the new supply has better boundaries because they're more in an independent state and a healthier state than we were, then they're not going to stick around very long, because they're going to buck back quicker. They're going to they ain't having it. If you can't The narcissist has a weird set of, they have a weird set of balance to them. Now, it's hard to, you can't balance a narcissist forever, and that's why every narcissist relationship ends in destruction, defeat. But you can, if you understand the narcissist, the way they think and what their needs are. Not that you want to, but I'm saying you could probably balance it much longer, but I'm not saying you don't want to do that. But I guess my point is they need that chaotic stuff going on, and they also need the love and admiration. They need the negative and the positive energy going on, and they need to stay where they get a love and affection and adrenaline, okay, if that helps. So we would be the type to give them the love and affection. The narcissist, the one they would run to after to get their fill, would be the one that they would give them the adrenaline. Different cat and mouse games, but so the narcissist, when they date a co-narcissist as another form of supply, they can't last very long. They'll keep coming back, generally speaking, to each other, but they can't give them that love and admiration. So because they can't give them that love and admiration, they can only give them one side, because they have a disorder. So they can only do one-sided things, and that's it. So once that they get their fill of adrenaline and all of that chaos, then they're going to come back to that lover and full of admiration, the one that's going to support them, protect them. They're very lazy, so two narcissists are dating. The other narcissist isn't going to be fulfilling their needs as far as doing things for them all the time, pampering them. But then they'll come back to you and get that love sector. So they like that drama and trauma from co-narcissists, and then they like to come back and get that love and admiration. So a lot of times that's why they would have an empathic form of supply, and then when they leave the empathic form of supply, they'd go to a co-narcissist and then come back, and that could be their cycle, to go back and forth between a narcissist and an empath. But my point is a normal individual could actually put on both sides of the spectrum. A co-narcissist couldn't in a relationship, but a normal person could, because a lot of times what it is they like the cat and mouse chase from the other narcissist, but a lot of times there's threats in it, but it also is a game to them. So they are playing each other, and both of them do know that, but they kind of like the game. That keeps them energetically intertwined, and it keeps them, I guess, enthused, and it doesn't get bored. And so that's what they like about the other side. So a lot of times, if the new supply does one of two things, either tells them they love them and they get conquered right away, then they're going to get bored with the new supply. And so that's not going to help much. The other thing is if they're kind of on an altruistic level where they want peace and harmony in a relationship, the narcissist isn't going to stick around for that very long either, because they need that chaos. And at least in the regular relationship with us, we gave them the love and admiration, then they would create the chaos, and then we would react. And so they like that. But the problem is in the situation with us, it's not a problem, it's a problem with them. But we would build these boundaries at some point, and we would defend ourselves. And so the narcissist doesn't like someone that has a lot of boundaries to protect themselves. They don't want somebody that has any protective mechanisms up. They want to run all over your life, all over your soul, all over your heart. And so the narcissist, when they're in a co-narcissist relationship, they do get jealous and stuff, but they play these games back to each other. So basically, if the new supply is going to be judging them and mirroring back to them their negative reciprocity, then they're going to leave as well. If somebody is with them and they tell you, the narcissist tells you they love you, and you don't tell them that you love them back, you just say something like, I know I love myself, and I know you love me, then the narcissist is that's the kind of stuff that gets the narcissist obsessed with you, because they're gonna be thinking like, why didn't they tell me they love me back? But once you tell them you love them back, then they're gone, because then they feel like they've conquered you. Once they get relaxed in a relationship, then they're gone. The other thing is they need chaos, adrenaline, and open boundaries. Those are things that and love and admiration. So a lot of times also the empath would be the one that would fall into, the spell puts you into a role to where you turn into their father figure and you become a parent to them, and it's like parent-child. And typically what they would grow up in is a lot of times they may get talked down to by the parent for doing things that were inappropriate, but they would also get praised all the time a lot of times. I mean, not always. There are the trauma situations, but generally speaking, a lot of these situations came from the golden child instance, which that's abuse in itself. So people talk about that. You know, as much as you would think that treating somebody as a golden child isn't abuse, it is abuse, because if a child continues to get pampered and loved and treated above everybody else in the other siblings and other people around, and you give them everything that they want, then they're going to not understand life for what it is, and they're not going to appreciate it, the struggle. They're not going to know right from wrong. And so that's where it creates problems in their boundaries in the future and their expectations. So what they do is they turn you into that parent figure, but they also want you to do all the chores. They want you to do all the work around the house. They want the perfect supply would be somebody that does all the work for them, pampers them, doesn't really let them conquer them doesn't really like to give them that all of that affection, just little instances of it. They would have to just mirror back to them a lot of times good things, but then when they would create the drama with them, or where we would talk about like the reactionary type abuse or the stuff that would be offensive to them, would be more on the cat and mouse level of playing, you know, but it would be kind of little injuries, but they wouldn't be so much of hitting them up on their character as much as maybe more on just little instances of value and a little bit of character, but not digging in deep. That's what would keep the narcissist kind of around longer. So if the new supply gives them nothing but admiration and love, then they're going to get bored with that. And if they won't walk into reactive abuse, if they have good boundaries and they mirror back somebody that they don't want to see their negative side, then they're not gonna like that. But they also need to be praised a lot, because that parent figure in their childhood always praised them. So they really want that primary supply to be praising them all the time, doing all the work in the house, and having open boundaries, basically like an open marriage or open relationship, basically, because that's the only thing. And then everything's transactional for them. A lot of times when they have a narcissist partner, they would have somebody maybe that is more financially savvy and has money and can throw a lot of money at them. They're always looking for that, depending on their goals too. So if the new supply has different goals, like I said, if they like a harmonious relationship, then that's not going to work well for the narcissist, because they are going to get bored with that. And if you like harmonious relationships, then you're going to judge them for all their negative attributes and their cheating and all that. But also in life, so a narcissist, I always say, is completely 100% in the flesh. They don't really deal with the spirit realm, as much as they are fully in the spirit realm on a negative, evil level, because they've been hijacked, right? But when it comes to spiritual things in a good way, in a holy way, they're obsolete, zero, zilch. There is no ethics, there is no morals. They're morally completely deprived, and they still have ways of rationalizing that they are a good individual, and you're the problem. When you have different goals, for instance, so most of the narcissists out there are going to be the materialistic type, the somatic type, or along the lines of more histrionic, where it's sexually related, you know, and how they look, love, admiration. They like the chaos, and then they like all the material things that come with it. So if your life's goals are more on, you want to be emotionally in tune with somebody, spiritually in tune, that's not going to work out well. You got to have, your vision has to be at least somewhat similar to each other. So these are some things that would cause the narcissist to basically, they like the volatility, but they also like the love and the admiration, the support, and you doing all the work for them with open boundaries. And they have the abandonment issues, so they do want to have the ability to make you feel and have those jealousy points, and they're going to test you every day. And that's why a lot of those triangulation things occurs, because those are tests to see if you're going to leave them. They usually get several a day, and that's why you would react every day. They would draw fuel off it, but also what they're doing is they're testing you to see if you're going to leave the relationship. If you start to get to a point where you're getting in gray rock mode, they start to gear up to get ready to leave you. Because that's the thing too. Then when the relationship's starting to get toward the end, then you're going to have to find a way to try to break up with them before they break up with you. And I mean, basically, to keep a narcissist obsessed with you is to give them love and admiration, but never let them conquer you. Have open boundaries and don't judge their character, but actually give them admiration for it. But also give them a lot of adrenaline. So basically, you'd have to mix it up between bursts of adrenaline and bursts of love and admiration while putting all the work in. And I'm not saying you should do that. I'm saying, but these are the things that it would take for a narcissist to be somewhat happy in a relationship. And they're not going to typically get that unless you're going to play the same game back to them. And then you probably could hold on to them longer. But they're a curse, y'all. They're not somebody that you want in your life. You're not trying to grow with them because there's nothing to grow to. The most growth you get is in the very beginning, when you're just getting to know a little bit about them, which you never do because they're a complete lie. So it's just, when you look at the narcissist, the best thing you should do, what you should do, is just look at them like they're a Monopoly board. I have never said this is good, but they're a board game, and that's it. They're a board game. It's a game, but it's a game of your life. And so the narcissist is just a game. They're wearing traits of people that they conquered, and they're wearing traits that they stole from individuals and ones that they've looked up to, that they've mimicked. But other than that, they have no values. They have no ethics. They have no real spirituality, as far as they are not loyal to anything. They're not loyal to anything but that mask. And they're completely and inherently in love and focused with, they're in love. They're not even in love with themselves. They're in love with that mask, which would be the entities that give them everything that they do receive from that mask. But that mask is a curse for them too. But they're a game. That's it. When you're dating a narcissist, you are dating a board game. And then the game is going to end, and there's going to be eventually a winner and a loser. And that's it. You don't love a game. You don't love a game. You don't get, there's nothing special about a game. All right. Love y'all. Peace. Give me a like, subscription, thumbs up. Love y'all. We out.